we're looking at the news from around the world, including Australia, America, and the UK, and events going on there everywhere. It's in a few different sections. We've got the world news, the news that makes you go at the end, and we also have breaking news as well, see what's been happening while we've been on air, and apparently there's quite a bit going on, particularly in France. Anyway, don't forget you can join in the chat if you want to, assuming you're watching this or listening to this live. If you're not, then you can always leave a comment in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. You are more than welcome to disagree with what I say. That is the whole point. One of the main issues about this is to get people talking about what's going on, be it in the world, in politics, in the entertainment, whatever. So yeah, join in and let's have a natter, shall we? Hi Dream Frequency, hope you're good. Big shout out to T as well. And a question of where is Elaine? Has anyone seen Elaine for a while? She seems to have disappeared and we're getting a bit concerned at the shop. So if anyone knows where Elaine is, let us know. Hiya FNX Aura, hope you're good as well. So yeah, we'll get on with this, shall we? Hang on. I've got my thing set up. It's not as easy as it looks, this, you know, it's very complicated. Not only am I presenting, reading stuff, I'm also editing it and directing it simultaneously all together and all at the same time. Some can say I'm a genius, others say I'm just not. Have you heard about the lad missing in Up Holland? I saw something somewhere on something about someone missing in the Wigan area, but I didn't see any more than that, to be fair. So yeah, hopefully everything's going to be okay with that. So yeah, news. The news. We start with the week's news. So Monday, the 24th of... apparently I'm online. Hang on, let me just check. Yeah, I'm live on YouTube. Steve Kelly and Rollo. Rollo is the dog, so we always say, Rollo, Rollo, Rollo. It's kind of a tradition. Don't worry about it. I know you're not, but I'm just saying if you are worried about it, no, it's a dog. We always say, hello, Reggie, I don't know, Reggie, kind of thing. It's what we do. That's probably why people don't watch this. He talks to a dog. God, he's madder than that Farage chap. Yeah, I'll go with that. Anyway, Monday the 24th of June 2024, Princess Anne is in hospital with concussion after an incident with a horse. I mean, it's a bit vague, isn't it? An incident with a horse. Did the horse knock into her? Did she fall off the horse if she was riding the horse? Did the horse be over friendly with her? We don't know. Anyway, she got a concussion. Oh yeah, I even wrote a joke about this one. Okay then. Princess Anne in hospital with concussion after an incident with a horse. I had that too. Someone once threw a frozen Finder's crispy pancake at me a few years ago. I thank you. And that ends tonight. It's not going to get any better than that, folks. I'm sorry. Ends. That is the show for tonight. Thank you for watching. Indeed, you still are. Blah, 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 blah. Off here. Bye. No, I'm joking. Thankfully, she was released from hospital not long after. Have the main parties in the local elections, in the general election, this is on Monday, ducked the true tax rises from all of them. Yeah, Labour could be looking at doing drive-by mile, putting tax up on cigarettes, alcohol, everything basically, and fuel as well. So yeah, I reckon that 2,000 thing that Rishi kept saying could be well off the mark. It could be more like 5 or 6,000. There have to be big cuts or massive tax hikes. Key and Rishi clash on the boats in the Sun interviews, and Rishi says he's not aware of more gambling within his party, and Keir just basically doesn't know what day of the week it is. Labour's manifesto is a shit show. Tell me about it. But I keep saying I'm going to do the manifestos, but I've not gone there yet. Jay Slater is still missing. What is going on? It's all getting a bit weird. It was a week after Jay disappeared last Monday. But more of that as the week goes on. Tuesday, talking of the week going on, 25th of June 2024. More betting scandals, including a Labour candidate bets against him winning his seat. Now, I can imagine the bets were quite high, but if I don't understand how you can bet against yourself. I want to put a bet on against Tegs losing the local election, even though he's going to win it because everyone hates everyone else. So I get good odds. Who are you? I'm Tegs. So you bet on yourself losing? Yeah. I mean, what? And there's now 5 Conservative figures also involved in the betting scandal. Julian Assange leaves Britain to go to an island owned by the USA to get freedom. He's been fighting extradition to America for over 5 years for his WikiLeaks escapades. Kenny president accuses protesters of being unpresidential in their attack on the capital city. This is over massive tax rises. Sadly, many people were killed. The Emperor of Japan visits London. Only mention he gets. No one cares after that. Last leader debate was on Wednesday the 26th. And this is before the general election. Rishi has his gloves off and actually put up a fight. It was good to see, to be fair. Both were aggressive. Rishi kept saying, don't surrender your taxes, don't surrender your borders, don't surrender your education, just don't surrender to Labour. And I thought they already were, the Conservatives surrendered completely, but apparently no. And all Key kept going on about was the last 14 years. Now, with the greatest respect, Rishi's only been Prime Minister for 18 months. Okay, he was in the government when Boris was there, but he had nothing to do with what Liz Truss did, and he's doing things differently from anyone else in and things are starting to happen. So going on about what went on in the past 14 years seems a bit irrelevant, really. I mean, shall we go on about what went on in the years before the last 14 years when Labour were in charge? And he'd say, well, I had nothing to do with that. So yeah, absolute nonsense. Still not to vote for that. I'll be honest with you, it's just insanity. Inquiry finds failures in multiple agencies after a prisoner 9 days out of prison murdered Zara Davis. Bolivia falling into military takeover. Left-wing general asks for public support. Doesn't get it. Julian Assange arrives in Australia after admitting one charge of espionage as a plea deal with the US. So if you do something, I prefer Rishi to Starmer, but I don't like Rishi either. But it's the case for me is better the devil you know. I know he's a tosser, but he's kind of he's a bit like Boris. You know he's an idiot, but he's our idiot. I think Starmer is just incredibly dangerous. But anyway, but yeah, if you commit a crime in America and you get caught for it, rather than go through a trial and all that nonsense, you can admit to a little bit of it and they'll let you off, apparently. Or alternatively, you just become president as a convicted criminal, potentially, and then let yourself off. US presidential debate was on Thursday, on the 27th. More of that when we get to the American news. A volunteer canvasser for Reform UK is filmed by Channel 4, saying various naughty things, including that Rishi is a key, and also referring to the boat migrants that should be used for target practice. Now, at this era of fake news, it seems weird that the Channel 4 were at the exact moment where this guy, who no one's ever heard of, who works for Reform UK as a volunteer, says all these things while they're filming. Seems a bit convenient. And then Channel 4 say, yeah, but we are you know, we're completely neutral in this, and we are just filming what we see and blah de blah de blah. Well, I don't remember him ever going around filming any canvassers for Labour, the Tories, the Lib Dems, the Green Party, the SNP, DUP, Sinn Féin. No, they only seem to have gone and filmed someone from Reform. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't agree with everything that Reform stands for, and this might be a genuine incident, but it just seems too convenient in my eyes. And obviously, Farage, Nigel, has poo-pooed it and basically said, fake news, fake news, fake news. It's a setup, he's an actor, blah de blah de blah. But they've also had 3 Parliament candidates who've all been... Farage is upping the threshold of tax for small businesses. So yeah, anyway, I'm voting Reform UK at the next election. It's that easy to buy my vote. Meanwhile, junior doctors start a 5-day strike. Both the Tories and Labour say the 35% pay rise, or reparation as they describe it, is not going to happen and non-negotiable, which is interesting because, you know, Labour and the Tories should be opposing things, not actually agreeing on things. And then other people have said doing this and calling this strike after the election was announced is making it a political strike, even though Labour and the Conservatives agree that 35% is a non-starter. This is the world we're living in. 28th of June 2024, it was a Friday. Farage claims racist canvasser was an actor to put Reform UK into disrepute. He said he isn't going to apologise, but then apologises. Disastrous debate for Biden, in fact shocking, bumbling, and then Trump appeared to lie quite a bit. The fact checkers were on one. Princess Anne returns home from hospital on Friday. Former Fujitsu engineer denies having hiding failings of the Horizon computer system from the post office, including being in court and giving evidence which sentenced an innocent person to prison. Spanish police asked for volunteers in the search for Jay. This is now day 12. This was on Friday. Saturday the 29th, 5 days to go to the general election. Keir says nothing has been decided, which is right, until the votes are actually on the polling sheets and they're all been counted and verified. Nothing has been decided. Rishi called the UK the most successful multicultural community. Reform dropped 3 candidates over racist, etc. kind of comments. And a new search does go underway for Jay Slater. More of that later. Sunday the 30th, that'll be today. It's the last day of June. We're already halfway through the year. Crikey. Rishi defends Conservatives and government, saying UK is better now than it was when they took over. You kind of have to agree with that one, but I mean, you could say that about anything really, couldn't you? Things are better than what they were when they were rubbish. When Labour left, yeah, we were right up the creek without the paddle. And now we've got the paddle, but we're still up the creek. But I think Labour are going to take the paddle off us again. The search for Jay Slater is called off by Spanish police this afternoon. The case is still being left open, they're still looking into it, but it all does seem a little bit odd. More of that later. And the highest numbers in decades vote in the French election. The far right expected to do very well. The far right against the European Union, against immigration, against, well, everything that the politicians seem to think we want. Does that remind you of anyone? Oh, hi Nigel. Yes, the rights are going to be taking over Europe. I've said this for years now. I voted Brexit because I knew that Europe was about to implode on itself, and this is the beginning of the end of Europe. We've gone through all the shit, and we can now say to France, when they leave the European Union, that we'll do free trade with them. We're not doing anything else. We're not going into laws with them or anything. We're not going in their currency, but we'll do free trade with them. And then Italy will think, oh, Christ, because they're going right wing as well. We'll have a bit of that, so they'll leave. Holland already has gone right wing. Germany hopefully doesn't go as right wing as it has done in the past. But yeah, I can imagine they're all going to leave the European Union, and yeah, we just form a new one, but we head it. Writing in France. Oh well, we haven't done breaking news yet. Dream Frequency. Calm yourself. We do it in the order I say. Sorry, I was doing a Total Wolf then. Banging the desk, but I have to do it quietly because it's made of glass and I don't want to break it. Anyway, that brings us to the world news reported this week from around the world. And the news this week is, well, it's mainly, in the UK it's mainly about the election. In America, it's, well, it's kind of mainly about the election. Where's it gone? Well, there we are. I lost my world news file. Like I say, I'm doing everything here. But we're sort of in Australia. Australia, mate. Australia's been looking into Woolworths, Coles, there's Aldi on that picture as well, and various other supermarkets for artificially inflating and keeping prices of food artificially high. It's not happened in the UK. You can't say that Tesco, Asda, Sainsbury's have put the prices up and cashed in on the pandemic, the war in Ukraine, and just the general state of affairs in the UK. But, well, they have, haven't they? But major supermarkets could face fines worth up to 10 million Australian dollars, which works out about £12.80, if found to be mistreating suppliers under a new mandatory code of conduct to be confirmed by the federal government. This is whilst they're also looking into the price fixing, possible cartel stuff going on there as well. We'll have to wait and see. Vape ban is watered down. Therapeutic vapes will be available at pharmacies. Federal government's world-leading plan to crack down on vaping has been watered down in a bid to win support of the Greens at the Senate. From July the 1st, therapeutic vapes will only be available from GP or prescribed nurse. However, Australians will be able to buy the same vapes without a prescription in pharmacies from October the 1st. So basically, yeah, they're banning one-use vapes. But people have said, well, you know, we have medical conditions, we need medical vapes, so they've said, right, okay then, that's fine. The NTSB is inspecting key components from the ship that struck the Maryland Bridge earlier on this year. The ship has now been freed from where it was and has been taken into docks. I think there's a picture of it later on. Assange lands in Australia. He was actually Australian, didn't know that. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has had an emotional reunion with his wife Stella after arriving back in Australia for the first time in 15 years. A plea deal with the US Justice Department will bring a stunning conclusion to an international saga over the publication of classified documents. There were documents that were classified, i.e. no one was meant to see them, but he put them all over internet wet. Mushroom gummies have left at least 5 people hospitalised across New South Wales. A public health warning has been issued after patients reported symptoms like nausea, seizure-like activity, anxiety, disturbing hallucinations, loss of consciousness, dizziness and a racing heartbeat. Now, they're Uncle Frog's mushroom gummies. I don't think they're meant to be magic mushrooms. I don't think you can buy magic mushroom gummies, can you? Legally in Australia. But looking at all the imagery on there, it does look a bit, hey man, it's really cool, I love these gummies. I soon have a gummy bear, thank you very much, but I don't have them very often because they make me a bit queasy because they're a bit sugary. Arkansas-based Evolve Bank confirmed cyber attack and data breach. Reported on Reuters twice. Basically, as I've said many times before and been poo-pooed by someone on the internet, the next world war will be fought on the internet. A bit trippy, yeah, exactly, Dream Frequency. Not, and this is testing out how far they can go. A month's worth of rain in one day for central Queensland. Parts of central Queensland have been hit with more than a month's worth of rain in just 24 hours, while more wet and cold weather is on the horizon. It is winter in Australia, to be fair. A low pressure through though is hanging over Queensland, drawing in moisture-rich air from the Coral Sea. The resulting rainfall has dumped 30 to 60 millimetres of water between Mackie and Townsville. I don't know where they are, but it does sound like a lot. And there's video of many other areas around the globe that are getting huge amounts of rain, and we've had similar as well. In fact, more of that later. Coles, one of the biggest, Woolworths, sorry, one of the biggest stores in Australia, has become the latest to introduce a purchase limit on eggs, following a nationwide, in Australia, shortage. Delays in stock from egg suppliers comes amid a widening bird flu outbreak that has seen rival supermarket companies introduce similar precautions. So you can't bulk buy eggs, so yeah, you basically just have to buy them if you see them in shop, but don't buy too many because you can only buy 3 eggs per person. Meanwhile, in America, what's going on in America? No one cares because it's America. I don't even know what that's there for. I don't care about sport of any kind, least of all American sport. Apart from the Grand National, apart from the Grand Prix today, which was actually quite exciting. An incident that we've been waiting for a while between two friends who may not be friends anymore. Concerns Lando moving out of his house next door to Max, but you know, have a few beers, they'll be alright. A California doctor who drove Tesla off cliff with family inside won't face a trial. He's been granted mental health diversion. The suicidal, in quotation marks, California doctor accused of intentionally driving his Tesla off a cliff with his wife and 2 young children inside won't face trial for attempted murder, as he instead set to begin a mental health diversion program. It's a shocking chain of events that occurred, and we've kind of followed it for a while, but I think this might be the best outcome for him and his family, because I think we said the other week that his wife said that she didn't want him to go to trial for it, even though she was in the car with her kids, because she believed it was mental health issues that had caused the situation. So it looks like the government or the courts have agreed on that, so that's good. Justin Timberlake fans shower him with support at first New York City show after Hampton's drunk while intoxicated bust. And they all said, "We forgive you." There was no love lost Tuesday as thousands of die-hard and forgiving Justin Timberlake fans packed Madison Square Gardens to watch their idol take the stage a week after his high-profile DWI arrest. Honestly, my inner teenager cried a little bit. In my eyes, he can never do any wrong. So it was a little disappointing, said Dealer 35, one of his fans. Yeah, we all have occasional slip-ups, and if you're a celebrity with that kind of pressure, I suppose you're more likely to be noticed if you have a slip-up. Not that I'd ever go drink driving. Well, that reminds me, I've got to finish this quick because I've got to drive to Florida. I can do it, you know. Biden's high-stake gamble risks everything, including his nomination, as he prepares for the Trump debate. Now, this was a planned debate between Donald Trump and Biden that was instigated by Biden. It's also good to be president, as Joe Biden is proving with his disappearing act. With his job and legacy on the line, Biden sees the moment to take a week off to prepare for his debate with Donald Trump. So they did a lot of training on Biden to prepare him to look good at the big debate. New photos show haphazard manner in which Trump allegedly stored classified documents, say prosecutors. Federal prosecutors released new photos on Monday, not in any way to tie with the debate a few days later, but anyway, Monday in Donald Trump's classified documents case that they argue show the former president allegedly stored the sensitive information in a haphazard manner. The picture taken by the FBI and one of Trump's co-defendants in the case were released by prosecutors as part of an effort to dismiss the defence team's claims that they were stored safely. But there's nothing to say that they weren't knocked over by the people who were going in there. Not that I'm a Trump fan in any way, shape or form, but again, you just don't know anymore, do you? A study hints that we can see traces of alien travel from warp drives in space. Why are we so desperate to find life on other planets? Chances are it'd annihilate us if it found out where we were. Even said back in the 70s as a kid, why are they putting a map on the space probe thing that had been sent out trillions of miles away from the planet? Oh, here's where we are. Look, we've even got pictures of ourselves with no clothes on, so you can find out the best ways to kill us. Yeah, brilliant. But anyway, apparently a new study appears to have legitimised the popular science fiction belief that warp drives, known by nerds as superpowered space engines from Star Trek, may actually exist and may be the way to discover aliens. The research team, plucked from prestigious institutions like Oxford and the Max Planck Institute, hones in on the legitimacy of faster-than-light travel. Oh, God's sake. I can't be arsed anymore. 16 Nobel Prize-winning economists warn Trump policies will reignite inflation. 16, no less, Nobel Prize-winning economists signed a letter warning that the US and world economy will suffer if Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump wins the presidential election. The jointly signed letter, first reported by Axios, says the economic agenda of the President Biden, a Democrat, is vastly superior to Trump's ideas. So they've got the same problem we've got here. We've got the Tories and we've got Labour, both of whom are hiding the tax rises, but both of whom will have to rise taxes, both of which will increase the struggling of the normal people, regular people, i.e. people who are not on stupid amounts of money. In debate, Trump could be his own worst enemy as Biden's campaign flounders. Donald Trump may be a real estate guy, but his ethics in the first presidential debate should be the familiar rule for the medical profession. First, do no harm. Trump was rejected by the voters and is getting a second chance, not after turning over a new leaf, not after disappearing on an image-boosting world tour, not after starting a new philanthropy. Trump has simply remained himself. Well, you can't argue with that. A bit like our Farage, Trump is Trump and Farage is Farage. New York City buildings' quirky signs could be painted over with trendy Fendi ads, and it's an architectural crime. These are what they call ghost signs. I actually follow an Instagram account called Ghost Signs, which mainly looks at UK signs. And basically, in the older days, on gable ends and over shops, they'd put painted signs on, advertising, various things on the establishment the sign is on. Then over years, they put a billboard over it, or it's faded, or the wall's been painted over and the building's been demolished, or if it's really posh sign over the windows of the shop, it's just been covered by a hardboard sign or a plastic sign, and then when that's replaced, you find the old sign underneath. Well, this is America, and they're saying that this sign that's on this building could be covered over for some advertising. Now, it's done a way where the advertising doesn't damage the sign. I don't see the point, I don't see the problem. But if it does, if it's just painting over it and destroying it, then yeah, there is a bit of a problem, because it is a bit of history. The newest thing we've got in Wigan is the Uncle Joe's Mint Balls sign, which is on a gable end. but they used to be everywhere. And occasionally you can see traces of them on buildings. But so you're more likely to see it when they're replacing things like billboards and stuff like that, because they've only painted around the billboard. So when they take the billboard off, you see a part of the painted sign that was underneath. Apparently, Julian Assange flew to freedom on the same $40 million private jet Taylor Swift chartered to go to the Super Bowl. Where did the worlds of pop superstardom and international espionage meet? Aboard a $40 million private jet at 41,000 feet. The jet WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange paid $500,000 to fly in from London to Saipan in the Northern Mariana Islands is none other than the same plane Taylor Swift chartered when she famously rushed from a Japan concert to watch the Super Bowl, and her boyfriend either win or not win. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows whether they won or not. Trump argues Biden left black Americans behind as campaigners plan Atlanta barbershop stop as part of increased outreach. So basically Trump is now going for the black votes. He's doubling down on his outreach to African American voters ahead of Thursday's face-off between the former and current presidents in Atlanta. The current president's support is dropping amongst black voters, apparently. I think it's dropping with every voter. Stand strong with President Trump against mail-in voting. Now, I don't agree with Donald Trump about many things, but I do think that postal voting is prone for corruption. I do believe that the only people who should be able to have a postal vote are people who have the brain capacity to understand that they are voting, also are unable to get to a voting booth, and it's prescribed by a doctor that they can have a postal vote. Nobody else should be allowed to have a postal vote, in my opinion. If you're going to vote, you have to get out to the polling station and vote that way. The only other way of doing it is online, but that is open to massive amounts of online goings on. So yeah, I agree with Donald Trump on one thing, and that is postal votes are being used to rig elections and results. Period. Bolivian general arrested after apparent failed coup attempt as government faces a new crisis. Led by a top general vowing to restore democracy, armoured vehicles rammed the doors of Bolivia's government palace in what the president called a coup attempt. Then they quickly retreated. The latest crisis in the South American country facing a political battle and economic crisis. But now he's been arrested. I don't really know the politics of Bolivia, but it is interesting that they've kind of gone down that route. Evening, urban blondes. Hope you're good. Marilyn Monroe's home declared historic landmark after wealthy heiress and reality TV producer sued to demolish it. Marilyn Monroe's former Los Angeles home was declared a historic cultural monument, as the current owners, a wealthy real estate heiress and reality TV producer husband, claimed the city used unconstitutional methods before they could demolish the abode. No, I think something like that is part of the history of America, where Marilyn Monroe lived. Andrew Emerson, everyone's coming in a bit late today. Good evening, hope you're well. Driver walks away unscathed after plane crashes into a pickup on a Californian highway, and then says, accidents happen. A California driver miraculously walked away from a freak accident nearly unscathed after a small plane crashed into a pickup truck after the aircraft failed to take off. A single mother, Dee Arata, 41, was on her way to work from a Yuba City home when the single-engined Republic RC-3 reportedly hit a fence and then spiraled into a Winnebago pickup truck on a back road at around 6 a.m. The pilot of the plane also walked away from the accident. But yeah, just to say, you know, I was driving to work at 6 a.m. and a plane crashed into my car. Accidents happen. Quite impressive. To say the least. And very understated as well, I have to say. Video shows out of control Cybertruck smash into neighbour's home hours after it was bought. I wonder if it was one of them that had rude things drawn on it last week. A new Cybertruck owner's dreams were crushed in a matter of minutes when the car he waited years to buy crashed into his neighbour's home. The disappointed customer shared his tale on social media, claiming that he'd only had the Tesla truck for 4 hours when its back wheels locked, and a known issue that led the company to recall thousands of trucks back in April, but they're still releasing them. Some amazing famous houses in Palm Springs like Elvis and Priscilla's honeymoon house. Yeah, I think things like that, you know, should remain. It's part of the history of the country, and, you know, pop culture and everything else as well. Biden shredded in TV ad highlighting illegal immigrant murders to air during the CNN debate. In an advertisement blaming recent high-profile murders of American women on President Biden's border police will be broadcast twice to swing state viewers during the CNN's Thursday night debate. I can't see how you're allowed to have an advertisement slagging off someone in a debate whilst the debate is on air, but hell, it's America, isn't it? These things happen. Denmark farmers will soon pay taxes based on how much their livestock fart. What? Pasturing gas comes at a price. Denmark farmers will soon have to pay an extra tax for their livestock's farts, making it the first country to implement such a measure to target global warming, inducing methane emissions. The gassy tax will apply to cows, sheep and pigs starting in 2030. A new Denmark law will require farmers to pay a tax based on how much methane their livestock produces each year. I mean, how do you know? You might have a cow that farts all the time. You might have a cow that never farts. Doesn't make sense. Yeah, Angela, bloody YouTube and all that. I've come up with a theory now that, I mean, I don't think I'm big enough for this, but I might be, that my notifications are being lowered because of some of the stuff I say on YouTube regarding governments, states, companies, councils, and various other things as well. So there you go. Now they're taxing cow farts. Yes, exactly. Anyway, hello Angela. It's insane. It really is. It's madness, I tell you. But that's where we're at. I mean, you know, do they put a little kind of gauge on the cow's tail to measure the wind effect and hope you don't live in a windy area? Or do they have a fart counter, counts how many times your cow has farted and how long for? China's lunar probe returns to Earth with first ever rock samples from the dark side of the moon. Yeah. Again, the question is why? I'm sure it's the same as the rock on the light side of the moon, because the moon doesn't spin. So one side is permanently light, one side is permanently dark. I say permanently, obviously when the sun and the earth are lined up, it does go dark, but it never gets light on the dark side of the moon, because it warps the vinyl and it won't play very well. There's a Deep Purple joke there for you. Adderall, Botox and B12 shots in the butt. Why Trump claims that Biden will be pumped up on drugs for debate, and it isn't so far-fetched apparently. Former President Trump has claimed that President Biden will be pumped up on drugs to enhance his performance at Thursday's debate, including getting a big fat shot in the ass. His assertions have been dismissed by some segments of the media as a campaign bluster, but privately doctors say that there will be injections and tablets and stuff. Pink Floyd, sorry, I always get them two confused. Not Pink Floyd, it is Deep Purple, but I'll let you off, you know. Biden odds of re-election plummet after dismal debate performance. President Biden tanked his odds of serving a second term in the White House after his poor debate performance against former President and convicted criminal Donald Trump, according to data from the political betting markets. The 81-year-old president's chances of re-election plummeted 15 points at the aftermath of the CNN debate. Now, we only saw a few clips, but they were disturbing. Biden looks like a basket case, I assume, in shocking debate performance. And it's been said he can't continue on. It's a good thing for Joe Biden that the debate wasn't held in Harlem's famed Apollo Theatre. The audience would have given him the hook and hooted him off the stage. That's how bad he was. Our president is not fit to serve, according to the New York Post. Not my words, although I can't disagree with them. Trump tells Biden not to act like a child. After Biden accused former President Trump of lying about his height, weight and golf game, Trump suggests that he and President Biden should act more like adults. Let's not act like children, Trump told Biden. You're a child, the 81-year-old president shot back. The heated exchange took place during their first presidential debate. I mean, it literally is. It's embarrassing, isn't it? But it just goes on and on and on. Biden stuns with weak voice, freezes and stumbles in debate against Trump. President Biden repeatedly froze and misspoke during his first and possibly only debate against former President Donald Trump, prompting anguish and panic in the Democratic Party. Fewer than 4 months before the general election, in what will be the most replayed political moment of the night, of the week, the mouthpiece and maybe the year, the 81-year incumbent lost his train of thought for what felt like an age. It was only a few seconds, but it did feel like it kind of went on forever. Biden fumes at Trump during the debate. You're the sucker, you're the loser. Now, if he said it with a voice that didn't sound like, you're the sucker, you're the loser. Sounded like that kid on, Malcolm in the Middle, the one in the wheelchair. You're the sucker, you're the loser. I mean, it was just embarrassing. And I mean, neither of these people are worthy of the job. I mean, there was a question asked at the question time debate in front of them by one of the audience members or actor, depending on who you want to believe, was are you two, i.e. Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer, are you two the best we've got? And you know what the answer is? Sadly, at the moment, I think they are. That's how bad things are. But in America, there must be better than these two. There really must be. There must be someone in the Republicans who is not, a criminal. And there must be someone in the Democratic Party who, is actually still alive. Anyway, the carry on in the paper, the New York Post, we've just witnessed the end of Joe Biden's presidency. Millions just witnessed the end of a presidency live on TV. Joe Biden's performance during the debate was embarrassing. Whenever CNN put him up on the split screen, he had a 1,000-yard stare. He didn't look old, he looked ancient, he looked empty. But at least he wasn't speaking, because when it was his time to answer, Biden was incoherent. He said he beat Medicare, asked about the abortion, randomly started talking about migrant crime. Yeah, it's very, very, very disturbing. The whole thing is terrifying. Biden freezes before Medicare jobs gaffes minutes into CNN debate with Trump. This is the main bit I saw, where he literally, it's like he's having a reset in his head. It's like someone's You know when you press reset when your computer crashes, you turn it off and turn it on again. That's what it looked like happened to Biden at the beginning of the thing. He just kind of went, yo, yo, yeah. It's just Biden's bait debacle could hurt Dems down ballots, and there are calls now to replace the president. Now, is that the thing? Can they replace the candidate but keep him as president? Or whoever replaces him as a candidate, they become the president for the rest of this term? Either way, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Joe Biden should be nicely looked after in a care home for the bewildered. Anyway, talking about him feeling, looking old, looking ancient or whatever, I'm going to make you all feel really, really old now, particularly if you are. Prince's Purple Rain turns 40, and we celebrate with the ultimate soundtrack playlist. Purple Rain soundtrack is 40 years old, or was 40 years old on June the 25th. It was released in 1984. I mean, it is some of the best stuff he ever did. When Doves Cry is probably my favourite song that he ever did. Kind of went off for me a bit after that, all the Paisley Park stuff and everything. But no, he was a talent, sadly missed now. But 40 years ago, when that come out, Jesus. Biden's now unmistakable mental weakness is an invitation for America's enemies to attack, they're now saying. So basically, they're saying because he's incoherent and a bit vague about everything, that it's going to open up the door for Russia, China, North Korea, everyone to go in, and particularly if he gets another term. I was 12 back then. This is what it sounds like when doves cry. Tampons are the latest victim of shrinkflation, women allege, as makers say no way, and that's insidious. Tampons are shrinking as manufacturers seek to pad profits, and growing numbers of users are arguing, saying they feel strung along, even as experts insist there has been no change at all. In recent months, women old enough to know which type of tampons use and when have been sharing they've been bleeding through the cotton plugs. So are they, like Mars bars and things like that have all been shrinking? Are they doing it with tampons as well? If they are, that's ridiculous. Mattel set to update Uno and other beloved games as part of a toy giant's inclusivity journey. For fuck's sake. How can you update Uno to be inclusive? Mattel will be playing around with the vast majority of its games to make them more accessible to the colourblind. Oh, okay then. The company announced. I should have read this before I slagged them off. That's brilliant, well done. Consumers can look forward to more inclusive versions of old favourites like Uno, Face 10, DOS, Block Us, and Tumbling Monkeys. 80% of the toy giant's portfolio in total. Yeah, okay, then that makes more sense. Although I've never heard of any of them other than Uno. And I haven't played Uno since I was about 12. With someone who was colourblind, ironically. Bit late now though, isn't it? Talking of 12, Dream Frequency was 12 40 years ago, but he's not letting us know how old they are now. Very wise. Don't tell us, we don't want to know how old you are now. I can't do the maths. Anyway, this is the news that makes you go, or or oh my god, no, or yeah, right. Basically, it's stuff that's made me smile, laugh, or just get concerned. And the first one is concerning, although proved to be possibly fake. But then again, might not. Game, which is the biggest reseller of new games in the UK, as was reported on Monday, of ending the stocking of physical games and hardware, effectively killing the last remaining dedicated UK video games retailer. Now, I worked for Game in the 90s, mid-90s, was a manager, very successful manager, and wanted to become an area manager, and got told that I wasn't becoming an area manager because I was too good as a manager, and my area manager didn't want to lose me as a manager, so I quit there and then. I'm not being held back. If I'd have stayed there, it would have changed the course of my life. I might not have been doing Wigan Watch. I would have lived in Wigan, because I already lived in Wigan at the time. But no, I might be doing other things. I might be a lot richer than what I am now. But would I be happier? I doubt it. Yeah, I probably would, to be fair. There's still a game in Wigan, but that's one where I started at, and then I went to Bolton, then I come back to Wigan, then I went to Wrexham, which is the one I turned around, and then I went to Liverpool, which is another one I turned around massively, and yeah, I got told I was too valuable, so I would never be an area manager as long as my area manager was area manager, so I quit. Looking back, short term, probably a mistake. Long term, probably a very good thing I did, because, you know, I've had 16 years of running my own business. It looks like we might even make a profit at some point in the next couple of years. Oh my God, imagine that. Anyway, Game have shut down most of, if not all of their single use stores, and incorporated them into the owners of Game now, because Game's gone bankrupt about 3 or 4 times over the years, and it's now in Sports Direct. We wouldn't be where we was if we chose different paths in the past. You're right, you know, we've all done different things, that, you know, sliding doors moments. You know, do you turn left or do you turn right? Do you do this or do you do that? And you don't realise at the time that it's going to completely change everything in your life. And, you know, hopefully for the better, but sometimes not. But anyway, getting back to Game, they've gone bust many times, mainly because there's no money in new games, which is why my shop doesn't sell new games anymore, because there's literally no money in it whatsoever. So I only do second-hand games now, the margins are a lot better. So they've shut their individual stores and they've incorporated them into Sports Direct. So in Wigan, in the Grand Arcade, directly opposite me is the Sports Direct. If you go up the escalator and turn left on yourself when you get to the top of the escalator, the Game concession, it's not a shop anymore, the concession is there, but they've really run it down since they took it over and put it in there. You cannot buy Microsoft points or any credit for any computer game whatsoever. They no longer do pre-owned games, second-hand games. They've stopped doing that. And I've been saying all along, when they started doing this, that the reason they're doing that is because they want to save money. And why pay someone who only knows stuff about game and games to work there when you've got, you know, some 18-year-old, you know, university or college kid who doesn't know anything about games particularly. It just stands at a till and scan stuff. And what they've done is they've now gone to 0 contract hours as well, in a bigger push to get rid of the staff. So now, literally anyone who can use a till can work in the Game concession, and literally just like being in a supermarket, you can buy your t-shirts, you can buy your jock straps or whatever you buy when you go up there, and you can buy a game as well, and one person can serve you for everything. Yeah, we have a load of Urban Switch. We have a load of Switch games in my store. Thank you. I don't know what I've got, but I've got loads. But yeah, the good news was though that Game said they're not doing that. They're going to still sell physical media, and we need them to sell physical media because we need physical media. A powerful explosion set on fire a lithium battery factory in South Korea, killing 22 workers. Most of them were Chinese nationals. Now, remember, we're being pushed down the route of electric vehicles. How many lithium battery factories are being built around the world? How many of these are going to catch fire because lithium batteries are unstable? Look at how many house fires. Now, people have said before that the most house fires in the UK are now caused by lithium batteries in items such as electric scooters or things like that. The whole thing is an anathema. The whole thing is not green. The whole thing is wrong. And thankfully, a lot of companies now are looking at producing enough green hydrogen, which is the future and a lot safer. It's not going to be like hydrogen bomb in your car. It's not going to be a nuclear reactor in your car. It doesn't work like that. It always will by kind of osmosis kind of system thing. So don't worry. We're not going nuke. Although, nationally for electric, we should go nuke. But we are doing slowly, but surely. Old Coots giving advice. It's probably bad advice, but it's free. So this is a stall somewhere where a lot of people look like my age and older are just sat around a table offering advice to, I would assume, university or college kids about life. The Flat Earth Society proudly say that they have members all over the globe. John Cleese did a brilliant reply to a 14-year-old kid asking if he had a fan club he could join. Dear Matthew, I'm afraid I'm much too important to write notes to people like you. Please remember that I am very, 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 very underlined, very important. However, there is no John Cleese fan club, in brackets, despite my importance, close brackets, because they were all murdered in 1983 by Malcolm Palin's fan club. I enclose a photograph to remind you of my importance. Yours sincerely, John Cleese. Fantastic. It's kind of humour like that we need around and about, innit? It's just genius. The guy is a genius. Oh, just in case you didn't see the Flat Earth thing, there you go. The Flat Earth Society has members all around the globe. It kind of proves the stupidity of mankind, doesn't it? I called my job from jail to tell them I can't make it. They freaking bailed me out and made me come to work. I know a few companies I work for that would do that. Breaking news, local man addicted to brake fluid says he can stop anytime he wants. Think about it. South Korean authorities ordered a lithium battery maker to halt factory operations indefinitely after a fire killed 23. Sadly, a couple of days later, one person had passed away, and said 3 company officials were under investigation on suspicion of having violated industrial safety laws. So yeah, kicking off in South Korea, and rightly so. Have you ever bought balloons for kids' parties? Rhetorical question. You ever bought a Spider-Man balloon and wondered where to tie the string? Well, thankfully, Spider-Man costumes had a malfunction, and there's a place where you can tie the string very safely. I must admit, I'd be impressed if that was me, but because I can't jump that high in the air. Either that or he's having a poo, or his webs come out the wrong way. Either way, yeah, a genius. Authorities cannot be more specific than this. Do not touch your partner's private part while he/she is driving! Exclamation mark in America. I don't know if it's real or not, but that is a problem in America apparently. Touching private parts whilst the person's driving. Without a single degree, they built us roads that have lasted for an eternity. This is the Romans, of course. And then the engineers arrived, and there's a picture of basically potholes. Cars have always had air conditioning. You didn't know this, did you? Even the old cars, this is how it looked. Yep, it's the window, manual window winder. Air conditioning off is clockwise, and air conditioning on. No, air conditioning on is clockwise, air conditioning off is anti-clockwise. Obviously, if you think about it. Furniture panics when it's get put on top of a car. That poor couch looks terrified. It does look like something out of the Muppets, to be fair. But yeah, talk about perfect timing. Yeah, it does look terrified though. Breaking news. Whoop, 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 whoop. England's footballers will not be voting in the forthcoming election. They couldn't find the box, let alone put a cross into it. Think about it while the advert's on. It's the only reference to football tonight, don't worry. Organising my finances is key. Now I do that. If I get a handful of change, I always put it that way around as well, with the bigger coins nearest me and the smaller coins further away. I don't know that it's minor OCD, autism, whatever, but yeah, I have to do that when I have a handful of change. And I do it sometimes without even thinking about it. I get a handful of change out and I'm doing it while I'm doing something else, and then I look in my hand and they're all in order. Oh, we've not heard about Elton John for a while, have we? On this day in 2023, Elton John played the final UK date of his farewell tour at the Glastonbury Festival. And there's a picture of Elton John with Nicola Sturgeon. Or is that Elton John? And the other person, Nicola Sturgeon? I don't know. They look the same, to be fair. Have I got news for you? Joe Biden and Donald Trump clashed on the subject of golf last Saturday. Joe Biden and Donald Trump clashed on the subject of golf last night, which is the debate night, as they debated who has the biggest handicap. The answer being the American people for the next 4.5 years. Woohoo, get in. Living your perfect life. A pet donkey that disappeared in California 5 years ago has been spotted living with a herd of wild elk. Living his best life. Sorry. Genius. Now I might just read this one a bit. Yeah, I'll read this one a bit. That is a footpath, and you can just see the bottom there, the toe of a boot, and it's a clip of a video of someone going down that, and even looking at that is giving me vertigo. So I feel a bit sick actually. That is just mind-blowingly scary. Would you do that? No, I would not. More so because it's down, so you have to look down. If it was going up, maybe, but you have to look down, and they always say, never look down. Now this is not news that makes you go, oh, this is actual real news. This is actual Wigan Today. This is the paper I write for, my weekly column. Wigan's roads have been ranked the most congested in the northwest and 6th worst in the whole country. Why? Because the council have built cycle lanes and took lanes for traffic out. That's why. Plus, they've got all the timing of all the traffic lights through the town centre wrong. So you drive through the town centre and your car will be stopped more than it's actually moving. Now, is this deliberate from a Labour council to convince a Labour government that we need congestion charging? Yes, I think it is. It's all deliberate. A dinghy full of migrants was filmed crowd surfing at Glastonbury last night, and it was a Banksy, allegedly. Well, Banksy posted it, or the website did, so I assume it is a Banksy. A miracle male snake called Ronaldo gives birth to 14 babies in a virgin birth. A male Brazilian rainbow boa snake called Ronaldo gave birth to 14 babies in a rare virgin birth, leaving staff and students at the City of Portsmouth College shocked. I mean, how do you tell the sex of a snake? And then more so, if the snake lives on its own, how does it get pregnant? Is this the second coming of Christ? No one ever said it was going to be human form. Eat Rishi. Shit show as climate protesters take a dump in a lake at Rishi Sunak's home. The stunt was pulled by an organisation called Youth Demand, and in a clip shared to X, a 21-year-old student from Manchester is seen wading into the body of the water before pulling down his trousers and allegedly pretending to have a shit. I mean, politicians put themselves out there, whether you agree with them or not. I've said this before, when Farage was attacked with a milkshake and then stones hurled at him. You should not go to the house where their family live. It's not the family's fault that dad or mum is a politician. And these protesters just make their claims of what they want look ridiculous. I mean, look at the Just Stop Oil protesters. I'd happily ship all of them off to Rwanda. Michael Jackson's pet chimp Bubbles has a classy retirement after breakdown. Bubbles the monkey was inseparable from the king of pop during the 90s and 90s, but now resides in a retirement home enjoying the finer things in life like painting and listening to instruments. Terminator-style self-healing robots with human skin are a major step near reality. Yeah, apart from the fact they look like a weird fish. This breakthrough from Japanese boffins could lead to robots with enhanced mobility, self-healing abilities, embedded sensing capabilities, and increasingly lifelike appearance. So yeah, we're inventing Terminators. Great, what could possibly go wrong? Planet killer asteroid to zip by Earth this week. Here's when it will approach. The asteroid is set to pass Earth by a whisker in astronomical terms, passing our planet at only 17 times the distance that the Moon is from the Earth, at speeds of nearly 60,000 miles an hour. Sounds impressive. I think. Maybe. I don't know. Right. Boffins want to implant lags, prisoners, with memories of crimes from the victim's view. Biologist Asham Al-Ghani says the criminal justice system could be revolutionised with new technology to help criminals see the error of their ways through a creepy ploy. No, I've said before, I think all murderers should be murdered, should be executed in the way they murdered their victims, but slower. So if you stab them to death, you get stabbed slowly to death. In exactly the same place as you stabbed your victim. If you shot someone to death, you get shot slowly, as in you get shot in extremities before the fatal shot. If you drown someone, you get drowned slowly. This will stop people killing people. Brit rescued by J. Slater Tenerife search party claims, "I didn't need saving." The team hunting for missing British lad J. Slater broke off their search to rescue 51-year-old David Larkin, but he has now claimed that he didn't actually need rescuing at all. He was fine, he knew where he was going, he wasn't lost, he had water, he had a phone signal, but they rescued him anyway, just to, rescue him. Virgin Mary appears on mountainside as local claims it is a holy sign. The photograph depicts a radiant white figure standing or hovering above a rocky outcrop on the cliff face. Immediately sparked theories that the apparition was a divine sign of intervention. And you're like, what are you on about? I'm like, what am I on about as well, to be fair, so let's have a gander. Right, okay, well, look, that way. That there looks like the skull of a deer with its horns and everything. Sort of divine intervention, isn't it? There's nothing up there except lumps and things. Is that her? Is that her there? Is that what they're on about? Is that what they're on about? Is that not that? Is that what they're on about? That there? That looks like the Virgin Mary. Right, okay then. No. I'm not getting that at all. It's ridiculous. That is absolutely bloody ridiculous, man. What are you talking about? See, we've not heard from Michael Jackson for years. To be fair, he's been dead a while. But two stories in one episode. I visited Michael Jackson's memorial in Europe. Fans say it's a misbegotten mess. It's a bit like Michael Jackson's plastic surgery then. Michael Jackson passed away on June the 25th in 2009. And now, 15 years later, someone went to visit it and thought it was rubbish. And not even a picture of it, it's just a picture of Michael Jackson looking very un-Michael Jackson-y. Brits are trying to cash in on the new Charles III banknotes with huge eBay prices. A number of eBay users are trying to sell newly circulated King Charles III banknotes for hugely inflated prices, with some hoping to receive 1,000 times their value. Now, they're wasting the time because the number of £5 notes and £10 notes that have passed in and out of my shop now are quite high. Plus, a week or two ago, I went to a cash machine because I was buying some stuff off a guy and it was 300 quid I was giving him in cash. I went to the cash machine, drew out 300 quid, and every single one of the £20 notes was a Charlie Boy one. So don't waste your money, you will get to see them if you haven't already, very soon indeed. Prison officer smuggled contraband into jail using Kinder surprise egg in vagina. Prison officer Kate Southern, 26, was found out when a lover's girlfriend dobbed her into prison authorities that went on to discover her unusual method of smuggling contraband. I can't imagine it's that unusual, really. But what would be more unusual is if you've got kids and they find it when you've hopefully not inserted it and they open it up to see what's inside. Yeah. And I assume she doesn't do it with the chocolate and the... she doesn't do it with the chocolate and the tin foil still wrapped around it. That'd be a mess, wouldn't it? A new weather map shows exact time Britain will be battered by biblical downpours, apparently. I mean, we've had a bit of rain, but I wouldn't say it's been biblical. Although I did get soaked to the skin. A rip-off monster truck event with just one truck compared to Willy Wonka flop. Punters threw in the towel and scarpered after sweltering in the sun before the grand finale at the Worcester show, which saw the solitary green truck barely manage to clamber over 5 cars. To be fair, that's a picture of it. It's doing more than barely clambering, but yeah, I can see the disappointment if it's meant to be, spectacular and only one turns up. Jay Slater hunts not looking good as ex-cop says it should be a murder inquiry. The search for missing British teenager Jay Slater is now in its 8th day, as the ex-top cop claims that it should now be treated as a murder inquiry by Spanish police. Sounds horrific, to be fair. I mean, we've talked about this pretty much since, the week after it started, and yeah, it's just awful. Inside UK's weirdest town, where residents can walk naked and no one cares. Glastonbury is famous for its musical festival, but the town is also a hub of occult activity, free-thinking locals, and supposedly magic well. So a pair of YouTubers decided to investigate, and people were walking around naked and no one cared. It's not illegal, as long as you're not doing anything, it's not illegal. What should be illegal is being a space alien called Count Binface is revelling in rivaling Rishi as young voters ignore the main parties. Space alien Count Binface is providing an alternative to Rishi Sunak in the Prime Minister's constituency of Richmond and North Allerton, but young voters are turning their backs on politicians in the UK. Yeah, that's because none of them are actually speaking in any language that the youth understand. In it. I ruled city with drugs and guns, but then I got shot in the penis. Matthew Norford, a no-cock, has spoken about his time in the streets of Manchester where he led a drugs gang that struck fear into the residents, often using guns not imitation. Yeah, in a threatening manner. Just put it that way, shall we? Jay Slater got in the wrong car, says the psychic who helped find 25 missing people. Michael Schneider, a top psychic who claims he has solved at least 25 missing person cases, has now shed some light on what he thinks happened to Jay Slater. So he shed some light on what he thinks happened, but not necessarily what happened. It's what he thinks happened, and he shed only a bit of light on it, not a lot. Jay Slater seen watching the Euros football on Tenerife coast. Mayor claims he must have bloody good eyesight then. I know when you're 19 your eyesight is excellent, but to watch the Euros off the Tenerife coast, I mean, that is pretty impressive. But no, apparently it was in a bar. It wasn't actually on the coast. Well, it was a coastal bar, but it probably wasn't him. Jay Slater update as fears it's unlikely to be found alive in the wilderness. Fears that the search for missing British teen Jay Slater will end with a body are growing, as such as doubt they will find the lad alive if he wound up lost in Tenerife. Yeah, I mean, the only hope we can have now for his family is the fact that someone's got him, either with his will or against his will, but are looking after him to a degree. But if he's out in there and he had no water, 2 weeks tomorrow ago, then sadly it's not looking good at all. But fingers crossed there's some other explanation. We will find aliens in our lifetime, but as humans won't be able to handle it. Jesse Christiansen, an astrophysicist at the California Institute of Technology, told Shining Science that humans have so far only scratched the surface of space exploration. No shit, Sherlock. I can see why she's a fucking scientist. Jesus. Doctors reveal average penis size is growing, but urges men not to worry. Urologist Dr. Blanca Majura breaks down scientists' discovery about the growing average penis size of a penis and how a high-protein diet could be related. I mean, it's the rush of blood, isn't it, that makes the penis size bigger? I'm not a biologist, a doctor, or a urologist. First UK E. coli death confirmed, as nearly all those with it have bloody poo. As well as 81% of people reporting bloody diarrhea, 49% of cases have been admitted to hospital, while 10% attend A&E for the symptoms across the whole of the UK. This was in lettuce on sandwiches, which are pre-made and sold in supermarkets and the like. Hopefully the source has been found and there'll be no more cases, and the people who have got it do recover fully. But yeah, World War III fears grow as Norway stockpiles ahead of apocalyptic future. Norway aims to hoard around 82.5 tonnes of grain by 2029, which is enough to feed the Scandinavian nation's population for 3 months in case the unthinkable happens. So we've got until 2029, so that's alright. But what happens after 3 months? Because if you've been nuked, then everything's destroyed, including crops. So even if you can get out of the shelters in a Fallout style, you won't be able to eat anything. So you're just prolonging the death, aren't you, really? Closed for sex. A sandwich shop leaves customers mortified with cringeworthy closed for sex sign. A customer has been left mortified after spotting a sign on his local sandwich shop saying it was closed for sex for 30 minutes, forcing him to leave hungry. Could have joined in and had a threesome. Closed for sex. I mean, would you want to go in there? Can I have some of the special sauce as well, please? Well, hang on a minute, we'll have to close for half an hour for that. No, I mean your Nando sauce. Jay Slater was not here, insists Spanish Town's mayor, despite CCTV footage. Grainy. I mean, this is the CCTV footage. I mean, grainy is an understatement. We are in 2024, aren't we? We're not in like 1923. Grainy CCTV footage of what could have been missing teenager Jay Slater gave the family hope earlier this week, but now the mayor of the town it was filmed in has dashed that hope, saying it's not him, some other person, and grainy footage. Jay Slater's mum to withdraw GoFundMe cash for supporters' Tenerife trip. Lucy Maylor set up a fundraiser for missing Jay Slater that raised more than £30,000 in a few days, and it now stands at a whopping £36,295 from more than 3,000 donations. She's now drawing the money out so her family and friends can go over to Tenerife to help search for Jay. It's all getting very weird, this, isn't it? Living Nostradamus asteroid prophecy comes true. What does it mean? The so-called living Nostradamus, Athos Salmi, claimed in December 2023 that a mass of never-before-seen ancient space materials would fly close to Earth before safely passing, and it proved true. I suppose you didn't say when it was, you didn't say what it was going to be called, or when it was going to be, or how big it was going to be. But yeah, it was the size of Everest, apparently. A depressed slave robot hurls itself down the stairs in a bed to end its life. The South Korean civil service slave, Cyborg, which was designed to deliver documents, flung itself over a stairwell, apparently to escape the boredom of working for a city council. The brain the size of a planet, they've got me delivering letters to people in a building. Oh. Yeah, Marvin the paranoid android lives. Well, nearly. Footage of this was quite impressive. How does US football pitch sinkhole compare to world's biggest? The sinkhole that opened up under a football field in Alton, Illinois, stretches out 100 feet wide and goes down up to 50 feet. A chip in the surface when compared to some whoppers in China that come with ancient forest growing inside them now. But yeah, it was quite impressive footage, and it's in between two pictures, as you can see, and directly in the middle was a lighting rig. So they obviously, bad weather and during evening games or whatever in the winter, they can still use the pictures. And that completely disappeared. You cannot see it in the hole, and they are tall things. So yeah, that is a big hole, a very, very big hole indeed, but not the biggest. Pub throws party for parrot's 41st, as landlord says she demanded a beer festival. The birthday celebrations planned for the new weekend for Captain the Parrot at the New Inn in Colford, Devon, included live music, a beer festival, and even a hog roast. Celebrating a parrot's 41st birthday. I mean, that's an old for a parrot, to be fair. They can live to be quite old indeed. Jay Slater's best pal heard him slipping on rocks in chilling last video call. Jay's friend Brad appeared on This Morning and told reporters Isla Tranqueur that while he was on the phone to Jay, he could hear his feet sliding down the hill. But not bothered to mention it before he got on national TV. I mean, surely that would be quite an important piece of evidence or information to give. Again, it's just weird. Britain to bake under heat dome as exact dates of major heat wave disclosed. They're more optimistic than the Met Office, saying that early indications suggest we could be set for sunnier and warmer weather in July than what we've had at the end of June. Bearing in mind July starts in 20 minutes. I don't think it's going to be any warmer or sunnier in 20 minutes due to the fact it's night time. Tattooed mum looked very different 14 years ago before the £17,000 ink transformation. Again, I say, no shit, Sherlock. So she looked different before she had thousands of pounds worth of tattoos all over her body, and 14 years ago. Really? Who saw that coming? Jay Slater's mum search update as questions raised over the GoFundMe withdrawal. Jay Slater's mum Debbie had to release a statement about her earlier statement after questions were raised relating to her announcements regarding withdrawing GoFundMe cash. So yeah, people have put in, money to help with the search, and she flies over pretty much her entire family to Tenerife. Inside Rathole HMP Wandsworth after video of officer bonking lag circulates. A damning report released in 2022 found that HMP Wandsworth was overcrowded with very poor living conditions and inmates kept in filthy cells for up to 22 hours at a time. Yeah, isn't that what prisons are meant to be? Baffled Brits can't tell the difference between bedbugs and spiders, boffins claim. Brits can't tell the difference between spiders and bedbugs, as research by experts found that just a fifth of the examples sent to turned out to be the pest. So yeah, basically, people don't know the difference between one of them massive spiders and a bedbug, which is about the size of your thumbnail. Just 6 people short for Jay Slater search that could take years. Police had urged experienced hikers to join in the search from 9 AM yesterday morning, but it appeared only a handful of people showed up alongside authorities. They didn't appear hopeful, so yeah, none of the locals turned up. No one turned up really. The whole thing again is just weird. Pablo Escobar's horny hippos face eradication due to public safety threats. Colombo's Environment Ministry is now finally considering a widespread sterilisation programme and caging the hippos in sanctuaries after they were brought to the country by the infamous drug lord. And when his empire crumbled around him and his mansion was destroyed, the hippos broke free. They were unable to catch them. They then started breeding, and there's now a massive population of hippos around the area. So they're on about culling them, or well, sterilising them. I suppose it's better than culling them. Police call off Jay Slater's search in Tenerife after nearly 2-week manhunt. This is a breaking news story and constantly updated by reporters, which is what we reported on moderately earlier. Which brings us, ironically, to breaking news. This is the news that is breaking right here, right now. Glastonbury in chaos as hundreds sneak over fence for £50. It was ridiculously easy, they say. How many sit-ups should you do in a day? Well, none, thank you. 17-year-old schoolgirl, Phoebe Gill in a dream after storming up to a place in the Olympics. Car touchscreens have become so complicated that now most drivers rely on voice controls. Seems to make more sense. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter opening line voted amongst the best of all time. Someone says, I'm not going to buy an electric car. It's the worst car I've ever had, obviously. Lib Dems step up frantic tactical voting effort to oust Conservatives. And Conservatives' blue wall. I must admit, Ed Davey does do some weird things. But anyway, yeah, we'll see. England win fifth World Cup title with victory over Austria in Finland. Looks like it's darts, to be fair, because there's what looks like a middle-aged man there with tattoos on it, which is probably Luke Littler. Explorer who named Australia to be reburied in Lincolnshire Village, where he was born. All good news. X Factor winner confirms she overcame crippling health condition and has changed her career. So the good news is she stopped singing. Where to watch Wimbledon? Well, that's going to be on the red button if you're really into it. Who will England play next? Who cares? Stanley Johnson caused a flight to be cancelled. Growing evidence that obese teenagers could benefit from weight loss drugs or just eating less. Royal experts, what's that one? Oh, there we go, let's go back. Royal experts explain how Kate Middleton has become a second mum to Prince William. Hey, that's a bit weird. Why would you marry your mum? I've just learned this quick tip to make reseeding your lawn much easier. I will tell you what it is, but I don't know what it is. Everything that happens to your body when you pull an all-nighter, you get tired. It's not very breaking news, this. Some of this is a week old, that's 5 days old. Dear oh dear. Emily Evis already in talks with acts for Glastonbury Festival 2025. Apparently the lineup wasn't the best this year. Wimbledon standing up for male and female rights. Ball kids, no, we'll stick with boys and girls, so ball boys and ball girls, which is correct. Cardiologists name food that are bad for the heart, and it's pretty much everything you eat. How to get a body like Daniel Radcliffe. I didn't realise he had one. Well, I mean, I know he has one. I didn't realise he had one that people wanted. Scientists have discovered why humans no longer have tails. We have a coccyx, which is that little, the bottom of your spine that bends round, and that used to be a tail back in the days, many years ago. And several countries have committed to banning new non-electric cars, which is incredibly short-sighted of them. This is how much sugar is in a can of Coke, a lot more than you think. And that's it for the breaking news. So I'm going to go back here again, and then I'm going to go back on it again, because sometimes it resets. Is it resetting? No, it's exactly the same. Why is it not resetting? There's breaking news that's actually breaking news that's breaking. Iceland recalls product due to serious health risk. Sleep for longer, the 3 best tips I've learned for getting a good night's sleep. My main one is, don't be too warm. So even though it's not that warm at the moment, I only sleep with a sheet over me, not a quilt. And in the even when I got the heating on, I have the heating on 24 hours a day. I find it cheaper for me. Not cheaper for everyone, but it's cheaper for me to have the heating on low 24 hours a day. Which means in the winter, unless it's really, 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 really cold, I only have the sheets on as well, and I sleep a lot better cooler than I do warm. So yeah. Doctors say how many steps you should walk a day to lower the risk of death. Well, if it's crossing a road, enough to get it to the other side. That will lower the risk of death. Ooh, pardon me. And I think fuming Lando Norris slams friend Max Verstappen for ruining his race after dramatic collision. It was good though. Vast salt caverns to store hydrogen under former Royal Navy base. Well, there you go then, we found storage for it now. Marie Le Pen's far-right national rally ahead after the first round of French voting, which was on about before, so it's been, yeah, they've counted the votes and apparently she is ahead with the right wing. Could the UK soon have the most working class cabinet of all time? No. Oh, by the way, breaking news. I forgot to mention this. Sir Keir Starmer's father was a toolmaker. I know, he's a man of the people. Just in case you didn't know. Wobbly pear shape or beer belly? Yeah, I'm a beer belly. That's because I drink beer. Jeers turned to cheers as happy England fans called truce with Gareth Southgate. Well, they haven't, have they? A scientist shares what probably caused the Titan submersible to implode. Craply made. going too deep in water. And it imploded, not exploded. Oh, it did say implode, sorry. And that is it. Is it? Happy 94th birthday to Clint Eastwood. So there you go. Anyway, that is your lot. Thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. A big shout out to Dream Frequency, FNX Aura, Stephen LFC, Kelly and Rollo, Urban Blonde, Andrew Emerson, Angela O'Kane, and that's it. Those are the people who've chatted on the stream tonight. Also, let you give you some stats. So the highest we've had was 8 viewers. We've had 46 altogether. Average is 8 minutes. We've got 6 viewers at the minute. We've got 3 likes, and we've been on for an hour and 36 minutes. I'm trying to cut it down a bit. It's goes on too long. So yeah, all being well, that will work as well. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and all being well, we will see you again next time for another week to see what has gone on in the week that is going to happen. I can't think of anything that's happening next week that's important. No, can't think of anything. So yeah, I'll leave it there. So yeah, I will be seeing you. Thank you very much for watching. Hi T as well, by the way. Hope you're good. I will see you all soon. Until then, yeah, I know, Andrew. I was joking. Until then, bye.